This morning, we're joined by three incredible people from Beacon Farms, an organization changing lives here in Cayman by helping people in recovery rebuild through honest work and agricultural training. Good morning, everyone.
Morning. Morning.
Now, I'm so happy to have you here, Sandy. I'll start with you first. Can you give us a little background on what Beacon Farms does and how it got started?
Right. Well, Beacon Farms was an idea for getting people who are in recovery from drugs and alcohol away from sort of commercial areas of the country. And so the idea was that after they'd finished at the Bridge Foundation, which is a halfway house, it would give them an opportunity to go and work somewhere else on the island in a peaceful part of the country where they could set up a farm and everybody could work on the farm, basically, be close to the earth, and it would help their recovery.
Okay. Great. Now, I'm so glad that you mentioned the Bridge Foundation, because you work very closely with them. Can you talk about how that relationship got started and how, you know, it supports each other? Right.
It's a really, really important relationship because everybody, and we're addicts in recovery, all three of us, everybody who works at the farm comes initially from the Bridge Foundation. And so the welfare of the Bridge Foundation, although a separate entity from us, is critical for us because it gives us the opportunity to have a labor market, people who could then come up to the farm and continue their recovery.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's an important relationship.
Very, very important, but important for the country because, and sadly at the moment, digressing a little bit, there isn't a halfway house for women.
Yes, well, I spoke to the Bridge Foundation, and we're definitely trying to help them in updating that arrangement because it's very important.
It is.
Now, Sasha, I want to turn to you. When people join Beacon Farms, what's that process look like?
Well, Sandy touched on it. You know, it's very heavily involved with the Bridge Foundation, but generally, people who are struggling with substance abuse, we ask them to go to treatment. They have to go through a proper treatment, come out of treatment, hopefully go down to the Bridge Foundation or some other halfway house, or some are stable for about 6 months to make sure that they're in a good place. They need to be able to have their ID. They need to have a bank account. They need to have an email address and a phone. So we want them to become stable, and then they can sort of look into coming up to the farm to work.
Okay.
They'll come up and we'll interview them, and then if we're able to take them, they'll have a probationary period. If they pass that, then they're part of the team, and we hope to build long relationships with them and have them stay with us for as long as they want to.
Wonderful. Now, Robert, as somebody who works closely with, you know, a lot of the team every day, what kind of transformation do you see, or what, when it comes to, you know, they're obviously building skills working on the farm, but do you see any other kind of benefits that they're receiving?
I'm starting to see a big shine in each and every one of those guys up there. You know, imagine, I'm going to use me, I coming off of drugs and alcohol and can't get a job. Feel lost in society, but there's a place now for us to have a job, feel accepted and feel as one. So it's a great feeling when you have a job, you can pay your bills, you know, and take care of your family. It's a lovely feeling, and those guys is really happy, they're doing good, and everybody gets along with each other because we understand each other. So it's very nice to fit into society again.
Okay. And Sasha, you know, based on what Robert said, again, as long as you've worked there, what do you feel, what does it mean for people in recovery to be able to have a stable job with a stable income and, you know, feel integrated back into society?
Well, you know, it's about self-worth as well, because our mission really is to prevent people from relapsing, because it's a terrible cycle of, you know, you get sober, you don't have anything to do, you're at loose ends, you're sitting at home, you have no money, you end up, you know, possibly getting into crime, you relapse, and you're back in that cycle again. So you know, when people come up and they're able to earn a living, as Robert said, they're now able to take care of their family, but their self-worth, I think, is what's really important, their confidence in themselves, and that normally leads to a longer sobriety, a longer and a healthier sobriety for people that are busy working.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Now, Sandy, I'm coming back to you because while Beacon Farms is doing the work of changing lives, you're also working towards helping Cayman with its food scarcity and sustainability aspect. Can you tell me a little bit about how the farm is doing that?
Well, in brief, we've got, we're probably at the cutting edge of certain areas in agriculture where we create soil on a commercial scale for other farmers. And so imagine somebody who's had a piece of land that's almost solidly rock for, you know, several generations. With the technology that we have, we're able to create that acre, for example, turn it into a real field with real soil. We have the only static aeration composting facility in the Caribbean. We're in the process right now of tripling it in size, which would allow us to provide compost and mulch to other farmers on the island. And we also grow a broad selection of crops. And we're currently looking at hydroponics and aquaponics as two additional areas that we want to work in. So we have a great deal of interest in looking at food sustainability and the ability for the country to produce its own food in a time of crisis in the future.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
All being done by people who are in recovery.
Yeah. Now,
it's cool, yeah.
that's fantastic, honestly, and I'm sure, you know, it's felt in the work that everyone is doing. I certainly know we feel it in the prices.
Yeah.
Robert, I wanted to go back to you. For anybody who might be on their journey, do you have any words of wisdom or something you can share with them when they're just, you know, trying to figure it out?
Recovery to me is one of the greatest gifts. If you were on substance, you can't beat it. You know, I don't have to wake up in the mornings and find myself behind prison bars and with hangovers and broke. You know,
Yeah.
It's a great feeling. It's a wonderful feeling, and I would ask anybody that out there in that lost world, hop on board with us, and it's a great, wonderful life to live.
Yeah.
Recovery.
Amen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sandy, now, just before we go, you know, what's the future look like for Beacon Farms?
It's really exciting. We're currently, as I mentioned earlier, we've got two major construction projects going on: the expansion of the compost facility, the building of a Category 5 hurricane storage barn for machinery. We're developing our farming services, which is our ability to go out and help other farmers develop their land. And we also, through Sasha, who's our scientist and is an entomologist, we're also able to provide a science-based farming service on top of the creation of soil and compost, etc. So we're looking at 2026 in a really exciting way. Having said all of that, of course, we're always on the lookout for money, you know. Although we do, well, our objective is through, and our CFO is probably looking right now, our objective is to get into the black and become financially sustainable by the end of 2029.
Yes.
So there's a serious objective behind it all. We don't want to be putting our hand out to everybody constantly because people get fed up with it. So if you get the feeling that, you know, you sense that we're using the money that we're given in a sensible and practical way, then, you know, we're more likely to survive. And we want to become a traditional institution in the country, a place where people can go and live. You can live on the farm, and people can recover amongst themselves, as we are.
Absolutely.
You know.
Well, thank you, all three of you, for sharing that today. I think, you know, myself and our audience have learned a lot about Beacon Farms, and I look forward to seeing what's coming in 2026. Now, for anyone at home, if you'd like to support the work of Beacon Farms, you can watch their documentary on YouTube, visit the farm, or donate to help them keep this incredible mission going. Beacon Farms is proof that second chances and meaningful work can change lives.